What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. We have got a good show lined up, even though the prices are down. In fact, some people are going to start using the word crashing. Yes, I put the word crashing in the title. Is that technically the right term? Probably not. I think that's probably a little dramatic, especially when you think about the fact that we really talked about this and predicted a move yesterday to the downside. I will admit, I didn't think it was going to happen this fast and this severe, but it is here. And the question is, how do we respond and what happens next? Should we be freaking out? Is Bitcoin about to drop down to 50K? Is the bull market over? Or is this simply a part of how markets really just move? And should you be buying the dip? Everyone prays for one, hopes for one, asks for one. But then when it comes, do you have the cojones to actually buy it? We're going to talk about that and what you should be looking at next. But first, we got to roll the intro. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is just going to be me today. I always start off shows by myself saying we might not go as long, and then something happens. We get into some great conversation. We're engaging with chat. We end up going the full hour. But T-Shroom, as we are speaking, is boarding a plane. I almost had to cancel the stream because I just got back to the house about a half hour ago. Traffic was kind of crazy. I was wondering, man, am I going to be able to get back in time for the stream? We did. So we do have a show lined up for you. But T-Shroom will not be joining. He is flying back to Gainesville. He'll be back on the show tomorrow. So safe travels, T-Shroom. And we're going to keep talking, though, about crypto prices coming down. Now, I will say, and we're going to get into the charts here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to break down why everything is crashing, what you should be looking for. But I want to make sure people understand, we talked about a pullback yesterday. I did say the first level to keep an eye on was 64,000. And technically last night, we actually found very short-term support at that level. But I did put into our VIP trading group, and anyone who's in our VIP trading group, you guys can go in and echo this testament right here. We talked about last night a move all the way down to 60,000 to 62,000. We didn't quite get there, which means if anyone's wondering, is it over, Tim? Should I buy right this second? Well, guess what? What I know right now is the price of Bitcoin. It's a lot better than it was yesterday if you're looking for a good entry. But if you're going to twist my arm and say, is this dip over? Let's start off the show by saying, I don't think so. I think we have a little bit further to go to the downside, and I will explain why. But first, let's get into the bubbles here that we have going on. Not really any green. You're going to have to really dig hard to find some way down here. I think behind my face, technically, oh, that's Tether. So who cares about Tether? That's zero. There is one right here. Eunice said Leo, technically slightly in the green. So is Wormhole, or not Wormhole. Sorry, I saw the W. White Bitcoin. But other than that, in the top 100, it is a sea of red. Nothing necessarily happening positively. Everything is pulling prices back down the downside. Biggest losers look like the meme coin world with 19%. That's normal, guys. If you guys are in the meme world, if you're trading it, you guys know here on the channel, we don't talk a lot of memes. We don't trade a lot of memes, but I understand we have a lot of listeners who do. This is a positive sign right here. Or I say positive sign. It's not a good sign. But I'm saying this is just clearly saying, like, when the markets are not feeling great, it is going to be the memes that have the biggest losses. But when I do think about the word positive there, and I want to make sure I keep using the word positive, is that actually could be a very positive sign. Let me explain why here in just a little bit. But WIF is the biggest loser, it looks like. But right behind it, you got Bonk down 14.2, Pepe down almost 14, Floki down 14. While there are other coins with significant downside movements, the biggest ones, even Ordi right here down 17%, the biggest ones do seem to be the memes today. That actually might not be the worst thing in the world. But let's go over here and take a look at what Bitcoin is doing. I'm down here on the 4-hour chart. I will go out to the daily chart momentarily to show you guys what is happening out there. That is very, very important. But I did tell you guys yesterday, do not be surprised for a further move to the downside. Sure enough, that is happening as we speak. We did fall all the way down to about 62,254 on Bitcoin before we found some temporary support. But let's go out to the daily chart and let's take a look at what Bitcoin, why Bitcoin fell down this low, and why I don't think the dip is quite over. What I told everyone in chat yesterday, if I come back down to the 4-hour chart, I knew there was going to be some strong support temporarily here on 64. And you'll see, even though it only really lasted 2 candles, we did get a small bounce on this order block and the take profit from the sell order of the 4-hour chart. And to be fair, right now that take profit is still holding up as support. But we are so stinking close to it already. I did tell the listeners, the VIP members, anyone who's either bought Lux Algo or joined the Pro Bros memberships, you guys did get into our VIP trading group, and I told you, do not be surprised to see this smart trail be contacted once again on the daily chart, and that level is putting us between 62,000 and roughly 60,000, give or take. So I still think that that is a level that we could go down to. If that is lost, let me turn off Lux Algo here for a second. If that is lost, we are in a descending channel. I've redone the lines here a little bit. I went ahead and said, you know what? Because of the clean multiple touches. Now we have 5 touches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches of this trend. We're going to change the channel lines here just a little bit. I did have them drawn kind of like down here just a little bit ago, but I'm like, all right, it's time to go ahead and change this to get bullish once again on Bitcoin and to see new all-time highs. We do need to break out of this channel. And while we do have some wicks down below that go slightly lower, if you use the cloning tool and you use a parallel line, this is what we have going with a channel of types coming on Bitcoin. If we continue to go all the way down, if we lose 60,000 and we start to make a move further down, we could be revisiting $54,000 once again. And then when you get down to that area, you gotta have to start asking the question, does 50K come back into the equation? What are you talking about there, Tim? Well, if you go over here and you take a look at our liquidations charts, yeah, we have a little bit of interesting stuff kind of happening here where between 62 to 60,000. But if that's lost, yeah, you start to pick up some liquidity right below 55,000. But the brightest yellow still coming in here right beneath 52,000. Would not be surprised to see us clear all of that and get close to touching 50K if, and this is a big if right here, guys, if we lose 60K. Right now, I do believe 60,000 is a strong level of support. Again, going to pull up that smart trail right there. I do think that this is simply a pullback setting a higher low from those lows we had way back at 53,000. But if that level is lost, 54 to 50K, where we have an order block, where we have the support level, comes back onto the table. I know people are going to say, Tim, are you just flip-flopping here? Here's what I'll tell you. While I remain overwhelmingly bullish, and I'm going to say something here in a couple of minutes that is going to tell you why I'm overwhelmingly bullish, I always have to be open to the possibility of further pullbacks. And as we are pulling back right now, and the reasons we are pulling back right now, they definitely are something that you want to be aware of. Good traders and good investors, let me go off my screen here for a second. Good traders and good investors make predictions, but they don't live and die by their predictions. They're constantly in a position ready to pivot or change their opinion based off of recent data. In fact, what I have done, while I remain overwhelmingly long-term bullish, I still have strategies put in place at this time to prepare myself for bigger pullbacks than what I expect. Do I predict 50,000? No. But do I have a plan put in place, and am I ready to act on a $50,000 price action? 100% I am. Before we go back, I didn't talk about the intro. How about this, guys? We were crashing today. I decided no hat. I'm surprised no one in chat has really pointed that out just yet. No hat Tim, no T-Shroom. It's a fun stream we're having, despite the fact that prices are pulling down. But let's real quickly, before we go back in the charts, let's take a break for a second and talk about why prices are crashing as a whole and really start to think about it critically. Let's go take a look at a couple stories that are coming out right now, but I want to make sure you guys understand these are simply articles. I want to think about them very critically. The first one, there's rumors happening right now. This has been circulating for a couple of days, but it seems to be picking up steam right now. Bitcoin tumbles as Biden sells $2 billion in Bitcoin, but this Ethereum token keeps pushing higher. Don't forget attention to the second part of that. That's not part of the important part of the article. I want to make sure you guys understand, if anyone saw this article or one like it, at least as far as I am aware, there is zero evidence that that statement is true. Yes, there's evidence that the government has recently moved Bitcoin. But as far as saying that the government has actually sold it, That's not necessarily very clear. Let's read some details about this article and find out exactly what's happening. I hit Zoom on the wrong screen, so my apologies. Here we go. The impact of government actions on Bitcoin. The crypto market is highly sensitive to significant movements. Agree with that point. Like the U.S. government's recent transfer of $2 billion in Bitcoin. $2 billion in Bitcoin, which has caused major ripples. On July 29th, 2024, nearly 29,800 Bitcoin was moved from a government wallet to an unknown address, leaving many anticipating a possible sell-off. The timing, this is the important part here, the timing is striking, especially after former President almost said the name there. You know, YouTube doesn't like when we say names of presidential candidates. Biden is no longer a presidential candidate, so I don't think that that's a violation anymore. But former President Orange Man, announced a proposed strategic national Bitcoin reserve if reelected, leading to accusations that the current administration is trying to devalue Bitcoin. Now, there's two responses I'm going to have to this point, but I want to start off by just making it very clear. We've said this on the channel several times. Reality and information, or reality and data, are two different things. There's an argument to be made about what's real, but there's also an argument about what the sentiment or the data or the story is becoming. And whether or not we actually do see the United States sell $2 billion worth of Bitcoin, if there's a general fear or concern that it is happening, then price is going to move in response to that. Now, the first thing I'll say is there's no evidence actually at this time, even in this article, that they actually sold it. It's only speculating that the government is going to sell. There's two reasons why I think that's false. Is number one, as I said on the show a couple of days ago, the new Democratic nominee, and we're going to try really hard today to stay as unpolitical as possible, but again, Bitcoin price means that we have to talk politics when those are the biggest factors. But the vice president, or we're calling her Vice President Unburdened, currently running or expected to run on the Democratic ticket, she's trying to pick up steam. She's trying to regain allies in the crypto community. If Joe Biden, the current president of the United States, who is one of her allies, who's campaigning for her, who really wants her to win, did a move like this and is trying to sell Bitcoin on the American people, he would cost her every bit of effort she has put in to reconnecting with the crypto community. That's one reason why I just logically don't think it's true. Can people feel like it's true? Can we print FUD articles scaring people about the possibility? Absolutely. That's why price is dipping. But if we really were to think about the reality of the situation, the logic just isn't there. The other thing that you should know, and I want to remind you guys of, let's go back here and share my screen, is a post put over from James Seifert just a couple of days ago, where it kind of said, hey guys, did you guys see this, where the U.S. Marshal Service is choosing Coinbase to safeguard trade its large cap digital asset portfolio? Is it possible that there's moves within the United States government that's moving Bitcoin around for things like the U.S. Marshal Services? Doesn't mean they have to sell. Just because a government or any entity moves crypto around from wallet to wallet does not automatically mean it has to sell. It simply means, boom, things got moved. And this is a rational, reasonable expectation for what actually caused the move to happen in the first place. The other big thing I think affecting Bitcoin in the crypto space today is another opinion article. Remember, we have to live in a world of reality, but also news sentiment and opinions. This is another bearish opinion being printed. Defunct Mt. Gox drops Bitcoin repayment update, and will Bitcoin react to it? Ultimately, if we kind of go into the article itself, what is it talking about? Mt. Gox moved another, let's just call it 34,000 Bitcoin to BitGo for Bitcoin repayment. This, of course, is brought to us once again by another Arkham update on their Twitter account or X account, just saying that Mt. Gox once again is moving Bitcoin, which has caused a lot of people to go ahead and continue to bring up this new fear, or this fear has been around for now a couple of months. Mt. Gox is repaying all their Bitcoin holders from a hack that happened in 2014. Everyone's going to sell and Bitcoin's going to crash. Nowhere in this article does it say there's proof people are selling. Nowhere in this article does it say anything about that. It simply says they're moving more Bitcoin. They're paying more people back. Well, so far, Bitcoin is still significantly up since Mt. Gox started repaying their users. Guess where they started repaying them? Way back on July 5th. Guess what the price of Bitcoin was on July 5th? $53,500, scared $53,500. At the end of the day, Bitcoin still is up from those times, from that price period. The evidence is overwhelming and the logic is overwhelming that Mt. Gox users that are getting repaid do not want to take profit on their Bitcoin. They want to ride it out because they see a bullish future, but that doesn't stop the writers of the news articles from trying to strike a little bit of fear. Let's stop for a second. Is Bitcoin going to go down further? I already told you earlier, if you're just joining us, I think it is. I think we're going down at least into the $60,000 to $62,000 mark. There's a chance we go down even lower. But now we have to live in the world of reality and ask the question, why is crypto crashing? There's a lot of bullish things on the table that we need to remember whenever we start to get a little too afraid. We got to remember right now, we still have, by the way, yesterday's news from RFK potentially dropping out of the campaign, fake news, everybody. So want to make sure we adjust that. We in the video yesterday, we did say, hey guys, these are rumors. We're not 100% certain if they're true yet, but we kind of ran down a road of if they were true, what it would mean. Well, guess what? They weren't true. We still have 3 presidential nominees, one Democrat, one Republican, and one independent. Guess what we have right now? All 3 of them are at least telling the American people and the rest of the world, if you elect me as president, I will be bullish. I will be good for Bitcoin and crypto. I will be a president that fights for your rights. That's bullish. I don't care who you're voting for. That's bullish. All 3 options claim to be bullish for Bitcoin. The next thing we need to understand is we are still post-halving. We're not quite in the timeline where pumps really start to happen just yet, but we still have a very bullish long-term prediction when it comes to supply versus demand. The supply is significantly reduced in how much is being produced every single day, and yet the demand long-term still shows a lot of signs it's moving to the upside. We see businesses, we see governments, we see everybody in the world that has wealth flocking to try to find a way to acquire more and more Bitcoin. So let me ask you the question, why is Bitcoin and crypto dropping? It doesn't actually logically make sense except for one solution, and that is the word manipulation. Guys, we used to talk about this all the time on the channel. It's a thing called Composite Man. Put a W in chat. That's a 3, but a W. There we go. Put a W in chat if you missed the days where I probably said the word Composite Man every single day on the show. There's some OGs in here that used to love that thing. I'm going to talk very heavily to you guys today about the Composite Man in case you've never heard of him. Now, the concept of the Composite Man is built on the theory from Richard Wyckoff way back in the early 1900s. After trading and looking at stock markets and how things moved, he came up with a theory of how to watch the charts move and predict when they were going to top out, when they were going to have a pullback, when they were going to reverse and go back to the upside. And he had a theory that he called the Composite Man theory, where you have to treat the entire market as if it's you against one singular entity. He calls it the Composite Man, but ultimately it's the conglomeration of every massive business owner and long-term holder whale that works together to manipulate price so that only they get to buy the bottoms and sell the tops. They don't want the average retail investor to make money. They want to steal your money in the form of investing and trading by throwing you off the scent at the opportune times. What does this mean? Well, these big whales, these big people, think about the BlackRocks of the world, the JP Morgans of the world, the large government entities. Think about the deep state as a whole. They work together and they own every major news outlet pretty much in this world. No, they don't own all of the X users. No, they don't own all the independents. But majority of the articles that you will see on this channel and other channels, you do have to understand, they are being written by people who work for large investing entities, and they have the ability to manipulate those stories at the opportune time to get rid of weak retail investors. What do I mean by that? They put very bullish articles at places where the market is about to reverse, go to the downside, and they sell, even though the articles are telling you it's the right time to buy. And vice versa, when the bottom of the price action comes in and it's time to start buying again, they will print very bearish articles, convincing you the price is going a whole lot lower, only so that you either sell or refuse to buy at current levels so that they can scoop up the entire dip and move back to the upside. This is an extremely common practice known as the Composite Man, and it's something I definitely think is back in the works. While I do think we're going here a little bit lower, let's go back to the charts here. I am not going to be surprised whatsoever if we continue to see these negative articles, these excuses for stories like Mt. Gox and the U.S. government selling its current Bitcoin holdings just to scare the average retail investor so that BlackRock and their buddies can go ahead and buy more Bitcoin before the real bull market takes off. I think it's is going to happen somewhere in this area. It at least probably is going to happen a little closer to 50K. Either way, this is still a very, very bullish pattern long-term when you zoom out. Let's turn off Lux Algo. Yes, does this price action look boring and sideways and you see lower highs and lower lows? Absolutely. We have been in a bearish trend in Bitcoin and crypto ever since back here on March 14th. It's been a long time since we've seen a new high. But when I do this and I zoom out and I take a look at where Bitcoin has been within the last couple of years, back here in November of 2022, when we were at 15,500, give or take, when I go even further and I zoom out to where we were multiple years ago, back in 2016, not even over $1,000 per coin. This is a very bullish looking chart, a higher high and higher low. Let's go to the weekly chart so you can more appreciate this. Oh, you can't appreciate it because of all my timelines. Different content. I did that a couple days ago on the show. Forgive me for the mess on my chart. That is a very bullish chart, ladies and gentlemen. This chart, by the way, is the chart that people have been watching from Mt. Gox. Back in 2014, when everyone got sold or everyone lost all their money, this is what they have seen ever since then. You think that that person who is smart enough to buy Bitcoin in 2014 looks at this chart and says, yeah, it's time to sell? I don't think so. You think any person who's looking at this chart right here, and we're saying higher highs and higher lows all throughout the process, is scared or worried just because we pulled back a measly little? Let me show you guys from the other day. We are only down on Bitcoin 10%. You think 10% is going to scare the whales and long-term holders? Absolutely not. But that's the game of the composite man. They don't need to actually show you the truth. They show you what they want you to see. They tell you what they think you want to hear, and they tell you the exact opposite of what you really need to know. Something I want to make sure people understand, though, the other thing to keep an eye on, we are making another big move, kind of very similar, and Ben Cowan kind of points this out. This is a very similar looking move to what we saw back in 2019. It does not mean I think we have to come back down here and hit support, but this falling channel does have similarities, and we've talked about this before on the channel, very close similarities to what we kind of looked like way back in 2019. Don't pay attention to COVID. This was an outlier event, a black swan event that nobody knew what was really going to happen. But we had several months of this downward channel before finally in January of 2020, we did break out. And if it was not for that dreaded disease that scared the entire planet and sent everyone into their homes scared for their lives, who cared about the stock market? Who cares about crypto? We might not survive the night. That's an outlier. If that had not happened, we would have just been bullish all the way from January of 2020 into the bull market. And I think we're seeing a very similar pattern once again. Does that mean we could pull back? Does that mean we even could go lower than where we just were a couple days ago and go to 50K? I think we could. Could and will are very much two different things we're talking about here. But my point in bringing this up is a lot of people freaked out back here. A lot of people back in December of 2019 were probably convinced that the 4-year cycle was over, that Bitcoin was done, that we'd rallied and had a false bull market. We were no new all-time highs. It was time for the markets to correct, and it was over. But, oh, they were so wrong. Bitcoin would go on to only, and I say only, go to 69,000, even though it's a lot higher than where the previous all-time high was. But it would go much further than it was back in December of 2019 when the price was sitting just under $7,000. History, I believe, is working to repeat itself. You got to be patient. You got to give it a little time. And I'm going to say something before we move on here. I'm going to say something that I said earlier in the show, but I want to make sure other people hear it. There's 460 people watching. Love it. Smash the like, hit subscribe. But here it is. Guys, a lot of people, probably many people here in chat have been saying, man, I wish that Bitcoin would retrace. Man, I wish my favorite altcoins would pull back to levels. I'll buy the dip this time. I wish I had bought back there at those lower levels. But the problem is, now that dips are actually coming, now that crashing in the market is coming into play, do you have the strength, the willpower to actually buy that dip, or are you too scared? Are you listening to the manipulation of the whales? Are you listening to the composite man? Are you convinced that Bitcoin's bull market is in jeopardy and we're going much lower and you need to not buy, but maybe even consider selling? Please reconsider being that person. Take a look at history. Take a look at price action. Take a look at news and think logically. Remember, there's two ways to look at crypto. There's the reality, and the reality is very bullish. And then there's the sentiment, the data. And all that sentiment and data is bearish right now, but you have to ask yourself why. Why is it bearish? Is there a trick at play? Has this ever happened before in the history of mankind where a news article lied to you about future price action? That's when you go back to reality. That's when you ignore all the noise, all the chaos, and you think about things logically. And guys, right now, every single sign logically is saying that Bitcoin is very far, crypto is very far from from being topped out in this bull market. This is simply another pullback that whales and institutions and the composite man, they're buying. The question is, what are you doing? Let's check in with chat here for a little bit. We're going to spend pretty much the rest of the show going into altcoins, taking a look at some charts and what we're looking at next for altcoins, because they're taking more of a bloodbath. I think it's kind of aggressive to say that Bitcoin is crashing, but you could make the argument that there's certain altcoins out there crashing. I think there's even a couple of them headed potentially for new lows of the bear market. Does that mean that altcoins are dead? Does that mean even that specific altcoin is dead? No, it doesn't. And I'll explain why here in a second. But let's check in with chat and see what you guys are saying. Alex Math is saying, Tim, I love your passion, dog. Love you, Alex. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You know, I try to stay passionate, try to keep up. You know, you got to be passionate about crypto. If I'm not passionate about crypto, why am I here? You know, why am I here? I believe this is a future of our planet. I think it's a hope to fix a lot of the problems in the world that are not just financial problems, but I think that Bitcoin and crypto can solve financial problems, physical problems, health problems, science problems, social problems. When you fix the money of a world, watch how everything else seems to fall in line. And guess what? The world's got a lot of problems right now. So Bitcoin could be very helpful. Granny's Garden says, trust your old granny, buy the dip. That is a smart granny right there. If you don't have a granny like Granny Gardens, I'm sure she's willing to adopt several people here in chat. Thank you, Granny, for that. Let's see here. Let's get some good questions before I move on. B-Ball Golf, you're trying to use your name. I think I need to have my banker tune into the show. My loan requests keep getting rejected when I say I just want to buy more crypto. Yeah, I don't know if bankers are going to love the show that much. You guys got to remember, everything we discuss on these shows is a threat to their existence. But if they were smart and innovative, they would understand it's not a threat. It's a key to their future. I think if any small bank were to understand the future of crypto and get ahead of the game, I mean, what is the small banker's biggest enemy? It's the big banks. It's the large dogs. It's the ones that are going to squeeze them out of business. If small banks were to find and adopt cryptocurrency, it not only will allow them to compete with the larger banks, it might allow them to outgain them. But unfortunately, at this time, it's one of those lies that get told to everyone in the world. You got to stay in your lane. You got to do what you're told. When you go to school and you think about the things that needs going to banking, there's no way they would allow you to think that these types of cryptocurrencies are a safe thing. They preach dollar, 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 dollar. And if anything seems to be a threat to the dollar, you run from it as fast as you can. And unfortunately, that's how the bankers, for the most part, kind of view it. Just change banks. That's what you do. Just get out of the bank. Go get your own exchange. That's the point of crypto. Be your own bank. I used to say this. We'll move on. We'll get some requests here. Start dropping some coins you guys want to take a look at. I have a couple I think are going to be very intriguing. But, when I first got into crypto, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got, and it is great advice, and I would heavily say still use this for a lot of the altcoins. But the advice I got was, hey, when you're investing in Bitcoin, don't invest a single dollar you're not willing to lose. Imagine you're taking that dollar out to a garbage can and you're going to set that on fire. You're never going to see it again. Some great advice. Don't invest a single dollar you're not willing to lose. At this point, though, where our world is, I'm almost going to say that's the right advice for how much money you hold in your bank account. Hey, you got a bank account? That's okay. Don't hold a single dollar in that bank account you're not willing to lose. You know what that dollar should be? It should be in Bitcoin. If you want to be a little more risky, choose some altcoins. I think altcoins have a long, bright future as well, but that's a little bit more risky. I think the risk on Bitcoin is very, very, very small, especially compared to back when I first invested in it. That's just my opinion, though. I guess, you guys do with your money whatever you want. Second, is a stacks price prediction still coming? Okay, you said second. So first, I didn't expect my unserious banking comment to be used by Tim for this segment. And that's fine. That's a great, yes. If you put things in chat, I'm going to maybe read it. There's a chance it gets read. Saying, is stacks price prediction still coming? Yes. So I have a long-term stacks price prediction But a shorter term stacks prediction definitely is in the cards. Let's take a quick look at stacks and see what's happening there. That is a coin I am very interested in. I am very bullish on it long term, even though currently its price is not the greatest. Let's kind of get rid of some things here because we did have some shorter term predictions for a breakout that ended up kind of faking out right here. We didn't quite get it, and it's probably the right decision to redraw this line right there and kind of say, all right, we have a little bit of it hasn't quite broken out of our channel right there. Did put a buy in order last night, right? I think you guys saw it around 168. That ended up not necessarily, well, it ended up people bought. That's a good thing. But it turns out we definitely could go a little bit lower here. Let's take a look at where we could get down to. One of the reasons for that 168 was not only an order block in play here, but also the take profit on the 4-hour chart sell order. The bottom of that sell order is going to come in here at 154. But as I move to larger time frames like the 12-hour and the daily, oh, look at that. I mean, 12-hour, nice support level at the moment. Is oscillator saying we're ready for reverse? No. So the fact that we're sitting on support, but we're not seeing a reversal call on our oscillators does make me think lower prices are coming. Guess what the next level we're looking at is? Probably back down towards 140 to maybe even back down to 125. I'm going to probably say 140 is a more likely outcome right there. What I'm going to be watching for, and maybe I don't need to see it on the 12-hour or the daily chart. Maybe I just need to see it on the 4-hour, but see on the 4-hour, the oscillators are very low. We're saying right now on the 4-hour chart, we are oversold. We actually have not been this oversold since all the way back here on July 4th. Guys, you remember what happened back on July 4th? That was the rally. That was the bottom of this whole pullback. That's the lowest we've been in a long time. Either way, we are seeing flashes that are saying we're oversold. But what caused the confidence? We had to see the buy orders come in, the green reversals, the green momentum, the positive money flow. And right now, well, we did get a green reversal more recently. That money flow is still negative, and our oscillator is not printing a confidence right now on the 4-hour chart. So while I do believe we're getting closer to what the bottom of stacks could be, I think there's a chance we could fall all the way back down to 140. But what will be my level to buy? If you're, let me rephrase this. What would be my next level to trade? Because I get that comment all the time. People are like, oh, I'm just an investor. I don't care where to buy and sell. Listen, if you're an investor, buy the dip. We're in a dip. Maybe not do all of it in there, but this is a very good price level to be buying and scooping up stacks because it's going to be moving back to the upside. If you're a trader, though, you are waiting for buy signals to come in on our oscillator. That is not yet in play and does lead me to believe we still could make a move down towards 150 and possibly as low as back to 140. That's my analysis on stacks. Short term, I guess I'll go ahead and give you my bearish case scenario. We make a move all the way down closer towards $1 and hit the support level once again. Let me before I move away from it, let's just look at the liquidations. Let's see if it gives any advice as to where we could see the price. Why did you do that, you silly high blocks? All right, give me a second here, guys. Got to reload this page. I don't know why it did that, but it did. And now I don't know if you can see it on my face. It's blinking like crazy. All right. Why are you doing this to me? All right, we're going to leave out high block. It signed me out, and I'm not going to sit here with like 30 seconds of dead air where I sign into high block. So forget that for now. We'll take a look if maybe it has it on CoinGlass. Don't like CoinGlass as much as I like high block, but it is still a functioning tool that you can use. So we're going to take a look there. I will share my screen in just a second. I have not forgotten you guys. Let's see what is happening. Let's go to a 3-month chart. That's the longest it's going to give me. Let's go back to my screen. There we go. All right. So where do we see liquidity in play? 150. $1.50 on the 3-month. You see a little bit of brightness right there. Big brightness up above us, back up here at like 250. But longer time frame, how far can we go before we see some heavy liquidity and a reason for traders to manipulate price just a little bit further? I like that 150. And that's one of the levels we kind of talked about right there. B-Ball Golf said, I broke your high block. Well, darn it. Darn it. I like high block. I just have to re-sign in, and that's a process. 150 looks like a good place for another buy order. And then again, I'll tell you, let's watch 150, and then let's watch the oscillator and say, do we get our buy signals coming in? If that's the case, then we're looking for a long position on stacks. And in case you're wondering, well, what are we going to get to in terms of a big breakout to the upside? I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but we will break out of this formation, and we could see that price shooting back up here again, close to $3 where we were back in April. Longer term, it's going to go even further. I will have to do a little bit of analysis. There's a couple different theories that I have. I'll tell you this, guys. You know how hard it is to make a prediction about where we will see a certain price at the end of 2024? It is borderline impossible. So I want to admit to you guys, when you see my videos, they are educated guesses. I always have a reason for my prediction, but I have to let you know there are so many things that could change between now and 2024. I could be way too low. I could be way too high, but I do break down the most rational explanation I could give as to why we should see a coin be at a certain level. So for stacks, I will save that official prediction for its own video. It should be coming sooner rather than later. That's what we got for stacks. What else do you guys want to take a look at today? Joe Bro says subliminal message to buy the US dollar and watch out, Tim. Okay, well, I didn't give that subliminal message. Cute kittens. I finally get to see Tim's hair. Yeah, Tim has hair. Proof of hair, POH. You know what's nuts? Well, I'm waiting for you guys want to take a look at Brett. All right, guys, I see Spank Mapleton really wants to look at Brett. Let me see like 3 more people ask for Brett and we'll do it. I thought in high school I was going to go bald because at 17 years old, my hair started receding. You guys can see my hairline right here. I've had this same hairline since I was 17 years old, but no balding. At least none that anyone has told me. So I feel like my hair is good. They say that your uncle on your mom's side or your grandfather on your mom's side is the best representation of how a man's hair is going to go. Well, my grandpa is dead. He died before I was born, but he died with a full head of hair at the age of 55. And my uncle, my only uncle on my mom's side, has a full head of hair. And I believe he's now like pushing 70. So maybe there's some luck for me. Let's take a look. I'm not seeing a lot of backups for Brett. So I'm going to need more people to vote for Brett. What I am seeing a lot of people asking for is AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. Falling down lower than I did expect, but I do see some things on the chart that looked like a good level of support coming in very, very soon. The first thing is we were in a falling wedge pattern here on AVAX. I told you guys don't be surprised if we came back retesting that former resistance level as support. That's very much in play at the moment. Why do I have this right there? Let me get rid of that. That's just noise on the chart here. Eventually, we will see this probably make a move towards $50 back to prices we had in April. But for now, what are we watching on these charts? Let's start off with Lux Algo indicators. Lux Algo is the best indicator package, by the way, everybody. In case you've been watching for a while and wondering, man, Tim does seem to get a lot of these calls correct about how far we're pulling back or how high we'll get. What is he using? Mostly, it's Lux Algo. I don't make every trade perfect, but I make more good than not, and that is the art of trading, is being right more often than being wrong and having good risk-reward ratio. If you want it, check out the link down below. There's a link for Lux Algo, and when you use our link, you get 20% off as well. So pay attention to that one. We did kind of come down here, and it's not official now on the daily chart. Let's see how the daily closes, but we are wrestling with that daily smart trail. So I made this prediction last night. I told everybody a next good buy signal for AVAX was going to be somewhere here around $25. Looks like we dropped a little bit below that. We're coming back down, of course, down to this level right here. Let's check out the 4-hour chart and see what it is saying. Take profit on the sell order we had a couple of days ago. This could get all the way down towards $23 before we hit the more aggressive side. That could take potentially even several days. But once again, what are we seeing kind of level up here? We're seeing very overextended, very oversold price action on the AVAX chart. We have not seen this since when? Back on, once again, July 4th. Major bottom signal for almost the entire space. So that is something to keep an eye on. But still see, while we do have the green reversal and we do see the oscillator in very, very bearish territory. We haven't seen an oscillator this low on Lux Algo since when? Oh, yeah, July 5th. Okay. I think we're going to reverse here soon. But I do want to see green reversal come into play. I do want to see the money flow go positive. And then I will feel bullish about a long for traders. I'm talking to my traders right now. That's what I'm waiting for to buy for a long. If I'm talking to my investors out there, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Anything between here and $23 is a fantastic buy. When you do this and you turn off the noise and you zoom out to a long time frame and you notice, has AVAX price action kind of sucked here recently? It has. But is it anywhere close to where it was back in September? At $8.54, nowhere close. Ladies and gentlemen, this is simply just another pullback on a higher high and higher low. And I feel like this is a good time to explain to you guys once again why Tim is not freaking out. While I'm not freaking out, I'm Tim. So I was talking to myself in the third person. So Excuse me. Some of you guys might not like that. Why am I not freaking out about the price of cryptocurrencies whatsoever? It's because it is not time for rallies. I want to use this chart right here. This is the Cardano chart. Some people hate that. If you don't like Cardano in this next bull market, that's completely fine. I don't want to talk about Cardano in this bull market. I want to talk about the Cardano of 2021, the most explosive and highest gaining cryptocurrency in the top 100 back during that bull market. Pay attention to what price action looked like back in. Remember we compared like this moves very similar to 2019. Guess what Cardano did in 2019? It pulled back dangerously close to the bottom of the bear market. COVID would go ahead and kick the bucket and set a brand new low. But even if COVID had not existed, Cardano, after falling during the bear market, let's just take a look here. After falling from the 2017 highs down 98% and then having a nice little rally over the next couple of months before the halving event, over 300%. And everyone's saying, all right, here we go. Cardano's back. We have a bull market coming, 300%. A lot further to go. We're so excited. Guess what would happen during that correction period? Cardano would go to fall once again 70% and get dangerously close. Back here, we fell to 2.6 cents in the bear market. The price would return to 3 cents. I'm telling you right now, anyone who was trading altcoins back in 2019 would have been saying, Cardano's a dead project. Stay away from it. It's done. The days are over. I'm losing all my money. I'm selling. I'm getting out. Well, if you had done that, you would have missed out on a major opportunity. Of course, COVID made it sweeter, but let's just pretend that COVID never happens. Cardano would have gone on to rally 10,200%. Why is that? Because altcoin season does not actually really start, guys, until closer to after the halving event, but closer to the fall. Q4. I've told you guys before, and I'll say it again. I don't think alt season really happens until November or December of 2024. Just because your favorite alts, or I'm going to say favorite, just because there are altcoins out there like AVAX not doing necessarily that well, like Cardano, that's not really necessarily doing that well. Ondo's doing well, but Ondo's been depressing to some people more recently. Matic, not necessarily doing very, very well. Does this mean these coins are finished, dead, and gone? No, it does not. If you pay attention to the fundamentals and what they're building and what they're still accomplishing, and you understand that this is altcoin season and not everything should be compared to one coin that's just blowing the market out of the water like Solana. And by the way, I'm not trying to FUD Solana. Invest in Solana. Great coin. It's doing amazing things. It's awesome. But don't treat every single coin that just because it's not making a Solana-esque run so far in the bull market that all of a sudden it has no future. Once again, if you went back to the history of Cardano, the most explosive, best returns of any altcoin, there was a period back in 2019 that people would have given up claiming it was dead only to miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime. I think that kind of stuff is going to happen again for the altcoin space. Keep an eye on it. The altcoins I'll tell you to watch out for. If altcoins are literally doing nothing in terms of developing whatsoever, they haven't made any new update, any new partnership in years. Yes, those are coins I don't think I have a very bright future. But if they're still building and they still do something better than the rest of their competition, I still believe there's a time and a space for altcoins to rally. What we ultimately have happening right now for most projects is a thinning of the herd where all the hype and short-term holders are completely wiped out. Only the strong, the whales and the institutions remain. They get to buy the dips with no one else around. And then by the time it interests you again, well, the gains are all but done. That's just how markets seem to work. Even when it comes to AVAX. AVAX is a very bright future in the real world asset space. It's still ranked number 12, but it's got a very bright future as well. Don't pay attention to sluggish price action to make your long-term price prediction. There's still a lot of upside coming, at least in my personal opinion. We'll see. Check back in January. If AVAX is doing nothing, if Cardano's doing nothing, if Polkadot's doing nothing in January, I will admit that I was an idiot. I will shave my head. I'm just kidding. I can't say that because my wife probably wouldn't let me. But I will tell you guys, all right, guys, I got this one wrong. But I don't think I'm going to say that. I think we're going to see some bullish price action. Someone said, can we take a look at Solana? I mentioned it. Solana, king of the altcoins, at least in this bull market so far. I'll tell you, let me start off with Solana. Solana's got to go a long way up to the upside. I want you guys to know this is very bullish. I still see Solana eclipsing $1,000. All I'll say is that's only a 600% rally. You know, I think there's a chance we get to 1600, in which case a 10x is still on the table, but there's so many other coins that do more. This is one of the downsides of being such a great coin this early into the bull market, is it gets harder and harder and harder. Every time your market cap increases, it makes it harder for people to make more money. So make sure you guys have a healthy, balanced portfolio. Do not expect 30, 40, 50 X's from Solana. That's what you got back in here. From here on out, I think it would be very cool, very awesome if a 10x was in play. I would be very surprised if anything higher than that ends up happening. But Solana is a very, very strong coin. Something I'm kind of watching right now in Solana. It's pulling back just like everybody else, but keep an eye on this W pattern, this double bottom of types. That's extremely bullish long-term. And just because we're rejecting once again in this zone around 190, that's given us some problems since the March days. Yes, we got over 200, but as a whole, that level, that zone's been some resistance. Once we break above it, Solana is going to go pretty nicely to the upside. In fact, just simple TA would say when a double bottom like this, you take the length of that opening and you move it over to the breakout prediction. This could, once Solana gets its juices flowing, be another reason. I think we actually made other predictions as to why Solana is going to $300, but a third reason why we should expect $300 as another level of potential short-term resistance for Solana. That's probably going to be coming in 2024. I made a prediction on Solana. Go check it out on the channel, where I do believe before the end of the year we go higher than that, but maybe sometime September, October area, $300 for Solana. Definitely something I could see happening. I want to say, before I go further in this, I still, despite the fact that we're pulling back early in August, there's a lot of signs that August should be a bullish month, at least for Bitcoin. So even though we're starting the month off with a little bit of a crash, a little bit of a dip, not going to be surprised if we see this pullback simply be a great whale buying opportunity and then price shoots back to the upside. But let's take a look at Solana. What should you be expecting? Coming down pretty darn close to exactly what I told our group about yesterday. We came down to 158. I think I said 157 was this daily. It was an area to watch on the smart trail here for the daily chart, kind of kissing that just perfectly. Again, I want to wait for some things to happen. Here's what I will say about Solana. This is not the greatest chart formation. While I am bullish on Solana, and I think that this is going to potentially get ignored, let me take emotions out of it for a second. Let me take a little bit of news and sentiment logic out of it for a second. I don't see this formation on any other chart. I don't see this on Cardano. Money flow has been red now for a while. I don't see this on Ethereum. There's been a little green, but it's not overwhelmingly green. I don't see this on Bitcoin. I don't see this mass amount of bullish pressure. On Solana, this is kind of concerning to me, everybody. A couple of days ago, or actually here pretty much today, we got a sell signal, not just from Luxalgo's buy and sell signal itself, but off of an indicator that I like to use that's pretty responsible for getting great calls. And that is a reversal signal, a bearish momentum, and then money flow turning from being extremely positive into being negative. We crossed back down below this little threshold, this thin green line. But what makes this even more severely bearish is that the recent rally on Solana, this light green, is pumped up, inflated, excessive buyers in the space. And a lot of times when those excessive buyers leave, which is what it looks like it's doing right now, you can have a drastic fall to the downside. Now, a couple of things I'll mention. That's a sell signal. The good news is the conservative part of that would just say, oh, well, the first thing to keep an eye on is the smart trail. That's your first level of defense that says if we get that strong of a sell order, it could fall back down to a bullish or blue smart trail pattern. That's exactly what we see happening right now. So that is our saving grace right here. When I say there's a chance we don't go further, it's because we pretty much got that sell signal at the smart trail, which means we could have gone as low as we really need to go. The problem is, though, is if we do start to see a sell order come in here and this take profit moves to the downside, I would expect it to kind of replace our stop loss pattern, which means we could see Solana going back down to about 140. We got to go over to CoinGlass. I don't like CoinGlass as much as I like High Block, but it is what it is. We're going to take a look here on Solana liquidations. Where are the interesting levels? You definitely have some here in the range about 150, 150 that is. Let's go to the 3-month, though, and see if there's anything kind of really sticking out like a sore thumb. Not really. I mean, yeah, 150. So as a whole, it really wouldn't make sense to traders to go much lower than 150 because their incentive, the gains, they kind of diminish. I didn't show you guys this earlier, but there was a tweet put out from watcher.guru here, and I got to zoom in here so you can read it if you want to read it with me. Are you not going to zoom for me here, computer? All right. No zoom. It doesn't want to zoom. Oh, there we go. Must hit the wrong button. We had $312 million liquidated in crypto in the past 24 hours. There's been a lot of this movement. I asked earlier, why are we crashing? I talked about the manipulation of it all, but also it's because traders were able to take advantage of a weak market and get liquidity so that they could make gains on their short positions. One of the things you're looking at is liquidity in the charts in general. If I were to go down here, let's say to the weekly chart, I bet you we're going to see that we took out a lot of, look at this. We've taken out a lot of liquidity here more recently, the last couple of days. This was an excuse, an incentive for the whales and long-term holders to replace all this and crash the markets. But now that I'm looking at these long-term time frames, and I'm really seeing there's nothing past 150, maybe you have a little bit of dabbling right here on 130, but it's not a lot. There's no more incentive unless a major bearish sentiment comes in the space, which I don't see, to go any lower than 150 on Solana. Do we even have to go to 150? Not necessarily. Traders, let's wait at least for the 4-hour chart to turn bullish on our oscillators. Long-term holders, long-term buyers, 160 is a great place to buy. And it's not as great as when we were back at 120, but you missed that opportunity. And I can't guarantee you're going to get it again. But I'll tell you this, just last week, we were all the way back up at 194. 160 is a lot better than 194. You're saving yourself a lot of gains. If you're looking for a next place to buy up more Solana, you can wait a little bit longer. I think we might go a little bit lower, possibly even 150, but there's no guarantees. So you want to act accordingly. We're sitting on a lot of support at the moment. Take advantage of it. Let's see if the 4-hour chart is any different. Oh, would you look at that, guys? Take profit. Where? 150. So it could happen. 150 could be in the cards for Solana. What time do we have? 3:51. We do have a VIP trading group tonight. We are going to be teaching formations. I'm going to be teaching. We've already talked about a lot of the triangle formations and the channel formations and cup and handle and inverse head and shoulders. Tonight, we're going to be talking about continuation patterns like bull pennants, bear pennants, bull flags, bear flags. And I think that's going to wrap up our formations, at least for now. So you don't want to miss it. I'm going to be putting out a Zoom link for all of our VIP members. And if you don't miss it, if you miss it live, but you're a member, you get to watch it back later. One more reason to join our memberships. Check out the links down below right there. Free Discord, but then also membership options. Very, very important here. I think it's a good time to even talk about some of our sponsors for today's show. You guys know that we are blessed to be sponsored by some of these companies, but these two companies that are sponsoring today's video, they're absolutely essential tools you need to have. If you're serious about even just investing, you need to have these tools. Houdini Swap, the cheapest, fastest, and best way to be swapping your crypto. If you're wanting to move your portfolio around, take advantage of the greatest trends, use Houdini Swap, link down below. But even for our traders and investors, check out CoinW. You can sign up with our link down below and win up to $100 free just for signing up. Again, traders, there's leverage all the way up to 125x. I just had them, just so you guys know, the bros. Thank you. We convinced CoinW to list Ondo to their futures trading. So if you were looking for that option, CoinW did just list them. But if you even just want to invest or do spot trading and take advantage of swing trade opportunities, CoinW is the best place for spot trading with very, very low fees. You can buy in, no extended fee like you have with trade opportunities. You can purchase Caspa. That's another one. A lot of people have been asking, where can I buy Caspa? Well, a lot of people say Uphold, but Uphold has high fees. Uphold has maybe some hard times getting into it. CoinW is very easy to set up. Get your USDT in there, and then you can buy Caspa at spot value and let that ride. Caspa is one of the hottest coins in this bull market, and it's going to continue that way. Shout out to CoinW and Houdini Swap. Let's go with one more question, and then we're going to wrap out today's show, and I'm going to prepare for our member stream here in about a little less than an hour. I see a couple people saying, well, I see Ondo, I see Render. Let's do Ondo. I feel like we just did Render the other day. Let's do some Ondo. By the way, though, if you guys, another reason, I know we're getting a lot of plugs here, but I can only answer so many questions in our live shows. If you want to have more questions answered, you got to be in our memberships. That's VIP trading all the way. Again, either buying Luxalgo or joining our Pro Bros. You get access to our VIP trading, and you get to ask me any question you want, and I'll get back to you ASAP If you guys are one of our members, whether a Lux Algo member or a Pro Bros, if you're in VIP trading, put a 1 in chat, letting people know how amazing that group is. Let's check out what Ondo is doing, and then we're going to wrap out today's show. Moving to the downside, we definitely put this in the cards on our VIP trading. I talked about a potential move back down. Actually, this 4-hour chart is going to stay as low as 78 cents. I'm going to go a step further here on the daily chart and say, look at that order block with the support level once again here on 74, 75 cents. Ondo absolutely could fall back that far. I thought we were going to get a breakthrough over here. I'll tell you guys, I thought I'm wrong sometimes. It happens quite frequently. I thought we were breaking through up here, but when we rejected on that smart trail and did not get high volume, that is when I flipped. I have been bearish right now on Ondo since back here on July 20th because we did get rejected. We got no volume. We failed to break out. And when that happens, I'm not seeing a lot of support between us and those lower levels. What I'm going to I'll give you a caveat on maybe some interesting spots around 78 cents. I do think we go south of 80 cents though on Ondo. That is okay. That does not take out the long-term bullishness on it. What we'll look for is we'll look for that bullishness to come in. Daily chart not showing it, showing actually continued bearishness. Same with the 4-hour chart. Yeah, we're low on the oscillator, but the money flow hasn't even gotten red just yet. So before I feel confident, let's see a little bit more flashes of oversold. We're sitting currently at 63% oversold. That's a lot more room to the downside before we're 100% oversold. Let's get some bullishness in our oscillators. Long-term buyers, I think you could get away with an 80 cent to potentially 74 cent price action. Look for those opportunities on Ondo. If you're still bullish, don't pay attention to short-term price action. Use the short-term price action to get amazing buy spots. The long-term price action, still a very, very bullish chart, despite maybe not having the greatest tokenomics, but the demand will massively outwork the bad tokenomics. I still think we see a long-term prediction of Ondo. Let's see. I don't think it's going to just end right here, but it's going to start maybe end of year, $4. But I think we go a lot higher. I think my long-term price prediction is closer to 15, 16. I'll have to go back and check that. Guys, that's all I have for you in today's show. You got to do something for me, though. You got to smash the like. I promised T-Shroom I would hit this button. He says, Tim, if you do one thing today, hit the smash like button. People need to do it. So, guys, smash the like. If you enjoyed the show, hit subscribe as well. I got a button for that one, too. Oh, man, it's fun. It's fun controlling the show. With that said, though, love you guys. See you tomorrow. T-Shroom will be back. I'm going to hit the outro correctly. Adios.
Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news, got your word. Doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper. Turn that better to cake. Money like Lego. Connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.